Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Today, we are showing a 2015 Ford Mustang 50th Anniversary Edition. It's the V6, 3.7 liter with 300 horsepower. As you can see with what I'm doing with my right hand, 6-speed manual transmission in this one. So let's start it up. We'll get a listen to the car starting, take a look at the engine as it idles, and we'll get a listen at the exhaust. Under 42,000 kilometers on this car. So despite being a 2015 first year of the S550, first year for Mustang and independent rear suspension, despite it being a 15, only under 42,000 kilometers on it. So we'll start it up. Keys right here in the console, these cup holders in the console. But it's a push button start on this 15 Mustang. So clutch in, starts right up. I'll leave it in neutral and apply the handbrake. Hood release. Wow, wow, wow. Nice clean engine bay here. The car, you might have noticed the footwell for the drivers, the floor at the driver's side has a paper floor mat like you'd see at a mechanical shop. The car's just been detailed. So the new owner of this car is going to find a very clean car. And this engine compartment is so clean, it reminds me of the 2016 Ford Mustang we were looking at last week. It was a different engine, but it was just as clean. It was only under 12,000 kilometers on that one, I believe. And the fact that this one's got under 42 and it's just as clean really speaks to the cleanliness of it, I'd say. So a 3.7 liter V6 engine in this one, as I was saying, 300 horsepower with the 6-speed manual. Maybe we gotta listen up close and get a close look at those belts. So yeah, I am pretty impressed with the look of that engine. I just spot it now, I don't want to forget it, but maybe the camera can see the 50-year Mustang badge on the dashboard beneath the glass. That's actually the original piece from the back. The owner wanted to preserve the original piece, it being a 50-year anniversary, so the one in the rear is a replacement and in use. So unless you knew, you wouldn't know the one in the rear is not the original, but there is a separate one in place. All right, so let's get a listen to that exhaust. Dual exhaust here on the 2015 Ford Mustang. So one pipe on each side. In the center, there's a reverse light about the same level as the exhaust pipe. And have a look at those indicator lights. This has got the fun sequential lights for the indicators. We see the left one on. I'll show you the right side as well. And this is a bit of a sneak peek, but we recently filmed another episode of the Collector Car Stories podcast with someone named Andrew Summers, who's a real T-Bird aficionado. And he explained to us that the first car with the sequential indicator lights like we see was actually a Thunderbird. So I'll shut down the engine. We'll take a little tour of the exterior of the car. So yeah, this car is finished in a Guards metallic. I just looked up the paint code. I believe it's HN on this car. Yeah, HN, and that's called Guards metallic. Depending on the light, it can look gray, it can look green. I see some of the green today. We're overcast. We want to get this video finished. The skies might be a bit threatening. So I can see a touch of the green. The sun would really wake up the green. Up front, we see fog lights, and those headlights are updated for the S550 starting in 2015. The camera might show some flickering of the lights. That's just the way the lights interact with the camera. There's no flickering to the naked eye. Big Mustang badge. I read recently, I still read things about the original Mustangs. That horse is facing left because Lee Iacocca's idea when the first Mustangs came in 1964 was that it was a go west car because that's where the opportunity was, that's where the freedom was in the United States. So on the points of the compass, the Mustang logo, the horse is facing west, heading west. Big front splitter to complement the fog lights in place, and a grill to absorb lots of air to feed that 3.7. As I was saying, this is the original rear logo. We'll take a look at the what's there in place. It's just an aftermarket piece. It's the same thing, but the owner wanted to preserve the original, this being a 50-year anniversary car. So this is a 2015 model year. I was just talking about Mustangs in 1964, which was 51 years prior to 2015. And people talk about 64 and a half Mustangs. I hate to disappoint them, but if you ever buy one, your registration is going to read 1965. They're actually 1965 model year. A lot like other Mustangs of the time, there's a neat Ford logo up here on the glass. That's telling me that this is original glass. I think we'll probably see the Carlight logo down here with the Ford logo. I'm thinking that's probably original glass. If not, the proper glass was used. 5-spoke wheels. A couple of neat maintenance items for this car. Brand new tires all around. So we're looking at Michelin Pilot Sports. They're an all-season tire. 235/50 18 in the rear, same as in the front. So we have a square setup. A bit of a gunmetal finish to those 5-spoke rims with a neat Mustang logo in the center cap. So again, those tires, they were installed, I can't remember if it was May or June, but 2024, under 1,000 kilometers on the tires. Same for the brakes. The brakes were changed at the same time. The side mirrors on each side, there's a double mirror, so you can get a wide angle view or a narrowed view. And of course, on the passenger side, it's objects in mirror are closer than they appear, but you do get the 2 pieces of glass. Over here is the gas cap. You can't see it. Come on over and check it out with the camera here. I just opened the gas door. 2015, so Ford had gone to the capless system. But I always like to look inside the gas door for corrosion, and not even a hint of it on this. It just sort of clicks back into place. I see that Carlight badge again on the rear glass. And here's this piece that's been replaced. For some reason, it was very important to the owner that he keep the original one in place as a keepsake. Maybe it speaks to the collectability of the car in the future. We've shown you the taillights. Here's the third brake light, a really slimline LED piece, so the center high mount stop light. This car has a slick top, so no sunroof on this car, flat roof. Maybe the camera should come over here. I've just noticed the only flaw on the car I've seen. There's a slight little dent here above the B pillar here. I'm not sure if that's going to show up on the camera, but if it does, I'll give you a sense of the perspective. There's a tuning. So beside a tuning, it looks quite small. So maybe we'll get the camera to keep an eye on me from the passenger side, and we'll take a look at the inside of the car. So just speaking to what I see when I open things up, a cloth seat car. Sometimes a nice find to find a cloth seat car with the proliferation of leather today. I see in the door sill there's a Mustang logo. And then a very well appointed car. We've got power windows, power locks, power seat on the driver's seat. I'll come over and show you that door sill here on the passenger side. So we can see that logoed passenger side. And as I look at the seat on this side, I do see the side airbags on it, but I don't see the power controls for the passenger seats. So the power control to operate the buckets is only on the driver's side, manual seats on the passenger side. So continuing on, looking at the interior of the car, nice modern infotainment system on this one. It runs the Microsoft Sync system. So on the steering wheel, this nice three-spoke steering wheel, of course an airbag in the center, we've got kind of a joystick control pad for the various displays here between the tach and the speedometer. And here we've got the buttons to engage the cruise control, volume and preset station seeking for the radio and recorded music, as well as phone operation buttons here. So Bluetooth and with the Microsoft Sync. And here we've got a small display, but there's a display. There is a rear camera, backup camera in this car. So I'm going to switch the engine to the on position without starting it, just so I can see things light up here in the center stack. You can see the Mustang logo came up on the display. Nice warm day today, 33 degrees at 1 o'clock, July 14th, 2024. So on the left, we have a tachometer. Max reading is 8,000 RPM with a red line of 6,500. I see a speedometer on the right side, big round gauges. The speedometer max reading is 260 in kilometers an hour. Canadian market car, Canadian gauges in kilometers an hour. And below the tach in the same little pod is a water temperature gauge and your fuel gauge here. And so we've got some infotainment controls here, more here. Then we've got HVAC here. Here's the engine start stop, a 4-ways, turning off your traction control. And a couple of power accessories here, USB and a 12-volt outlet. There's, I believe we also find the same in here, yes. So there's a line in, a conventional headphone jack style, a USB charger, and as well another 12-volt charger here inside the console. Couple of cup holders, and as we see, a 6-speed manual transmission in place in this car. That's just, up here is just a Microsoft Sync logo to reinforce the infotainment system. A neat Mustang badge here. So again, this being the 50th anniversary, despite what I said earlier about the 1965 model year, it does say since 1964. So that's when the first ones went to the first owners. There's a set, well, here's this paper mat I mentioned that indicates the car's just been detailed. The detailer would have left that when he was done his thing. There's a set of generic rubber floor mats in place here. And then the Ford OEM mats, which snap into place, are in place underneath the rubber mats. And nice clean carpet here. So as you can see, these snap right in so they don't flop around while you're driving. I'm going to snap it back into place for the driver's side. 3 pedals, of course, it being a manual, and a nice big dead pedal here to the left too. So there's something for your left foot to do while doing the highway driving. So that gives us a good look at the interior. I do see tweeters on the A-pillars. I do see speakers inside the door at the front near the hinges. And the rear seats have the same floor mat set up, including the rubber mats in place too. So just 2 belts in the rear, so a 4-passenger car, 2 plus 2. Take a quick look at the trunk. Oh, it just looks like there's some emergency items. Those booster cables look like they're brand new. Some cleaning supplies for the car as well. We flip up this little cap. We do see a spare tire in place. I'm trying to read the size. 155. So just a space saver spare in place. It is 18 inches, but it's only 155 in width. So that's probably one of your basic 80 kilometer max spares. So we're getting close to a wrap up. Maybe the camera could try to get a look at the underneath. I took a look at it earlier, and boy, I don't see anything in the way of corrosion. I suppose there's a little bit of surface use in place, but even those bolts on the differential look like, not look like they rolled right out of the factory, but certainly no corrosion. And usually the bolts are where you see it first. Oh, you didn't have to show me lying down on the ground, but I was interested in seeing that underside again. So wrapping up, so it alternates between a gray and a green. Right now I do see the green. I guess I'd call it a charcoal cloth interior. Under 42,000 kilometers, as we're shooting this, it's 41,531. It'll get to the new owner before 42,000. 3.7 liter V6 engine, 6-speed manual, 300 horsepower, and all that power goes to the rear wheels, typical for a Mustang. So we've got a screen here which includes the infotainment system and the backup camera, and then more of the car controls type thing are in the screen in the center with the step buttons here. So again, 2015 Ford Mustang 50th anniversary, under 42,000 kilometers, 6-speed manual. You will find it on CollectorCarCanada.CA as lot 194. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.